Hey everyone, welcome to In the Green Zoom. I'm Paul Danke. I'm so glad you're here. We're already having a great time. I've got right here with me so far, only Nick and Maggie are with us in the Green Zoom. And this is one of my favorite things that happen, is when two people do the same thing, but not together on the same day and then come and do a comedy show. This is one of my favorite. Oh, it's everyone in the welcome.
Hello.
Speaking of my favorites, I'm so glad you're here. We're already having a great time. We're already having a great time. So far, only Nick and Maggie in the Green Zoom are with us in the Green Zoom. I think this is going to stop in a second. Is when two people the same thing do the same together. Oh my god! Oh my god! That is haunting.
Yeah, something really intense happened, and I had to step away for a moment.
I'm so glad you did. We're just going to restart from the beginning. I'm very excited for this week's episode. We have a great guest on the show who I have performed with so many times. I couldn't, nor would I want to count them, because I just like to cherish them as a giant bankroll of memories. You know her from Reno 911 and Lady Dynamite. She's done voiceover on Adventure Time and has her own podcast, Let's Process This. Welcome, Melinda Hill, in the Green Zoom.
Gosh, what an honor to be here. Hi guys, thank you so much for having me.
Hello.
Hi Melinda, how are you?
Really good. How are you? I love your backdrop. Is that a mountain scene?
Thank you. Yes, I don't think it's a specific mountain, but you know, maybe the what do you think? The Smoky Mountain Range? I can't quite tell.
I'm getting a Montana, like a Montana van vibe.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, like a Montana mountainscape on the side of a van.
I love that. They don't salt their cars up or their roads out there either. So you're gonna get a lot of good quality older vans. You gotta love that about Montana. Melinda, we were just talking about a spectacular thing today happened between Maggie and Nick, though not together. They were both at the beach today. Were you at the beach today, Melinda?
That is uncanny. I love the beach, but I was not there today. Which beach were you guys at?
I was in Malibu.
The best.
I love Malibu.
I'm still in my bikini, Melinda. I'm not changing. I'm just going to go sleep.
Oh, that's great.
Why would you?
Podcasting in your bikini? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
It looks tight, and I'm not going to want to change.
Yeah.
Tight isn't cool.
This is
Also
your day.
tight.
I love that. Where was the other beach goer?
Well, I was actually at the beach yesterday.
Nick, God Almighty, you let me get that far into my my excitement with the magic of the moment, serendipity, and then you pull the rug out from under my feet.
But look at this. It's 3 hours behind in Pacific time, and I'm in Eastern time. So really, if we count yesterday as just like the day and today's, like, so at 12, it was the same here in Toronto, or at 11:59. What I'm trying to say is there was a crossover. I'm sure.
So the Venn diagram of days overlapped?
There was some sort of
overlap. I went to the beach at 12:01 a.m. So technically.
Oh, thank God.
And I was there at 3:01 a.m. today. Somehow.
Serendipity, baby. Serendipity.
So, Melinda, to answer your question. Oh, sorry. Paul, throw it out there.
I was just going to say, this is like when you meet someone and you think you've heard that you're from the same place. And you're like, oh, I heard you're from such and such. And they're like, no, I live like an hour away.
What about, is it like in comedy when you see someone and you think they performed at something that they didn't perform at, and you're like, did you do Jock Fest the other day? I heard you did great. And they're like, no, I didn't do that.
Oh my God.
I have a question in that vein. I have a two-part question. Who do you guys get mistaken for, if anyone? Is there someone who everybody constantly goes, Maggie, I loved you in da-da-da. Paul, that's the first part of the question, and then I'll go into the second later.
Me, I get mistaken for someone who does not look like me, but she has like the same, very similar name to mine. I'm Maggie Maye. She's Maggie Mayfield.
Okay.
Ooh.
So people will be like, hey, I heard you're back in Austin. I'm from Austin. That's where I came up. And she just moved to Austin. So I moved to LA and then she moved a little while after. And so people will be like, oh, I heard you're in town. Do you want to jump on this show? And I'm like, I'm not in town. I'm not going anywhere. And I know that they mean Maggie Mayfield.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Like they hear May and they stop listening before Field gets around there.
And do you ever just go along with it, or do you correct them?
I mean, I will correct them if they're like trying to book something, which is a thing. Like I'll have to be like, I'm not there. That's not me. No, I didn't come into town and just not tell anybody. Like, of course not. But
yeah,
and I have to.
That's crazy. I used to get Butch Bradley.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't see it. And then we did a show together, and I was like, I kind of see it. And but I haven't seen him in a long time. So who the hell knows if we look anything alike anymore?
Who you said? Butch Radley? That dude that like
Butch Bradley
broke a mouse and
yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird's Butch.
No, that's Boo Radley.
You say of Mikes and Men? Of Mikes and Men is a good article name.
No, I knew references.
What about you, Nick Flanagan? Do you get mistaken for anybody?
I get more of that thing where people will be like, oh, there's this young guy, he looks like he could be your son. And that's not the same. And then one time outside of that place, Ye Rustic Inn, this guy just walked up to me and shook my hand and then said, nice to meet you, and left. So I don't know if he thought I was somebody, or I don't know what was happening, but I was flattered.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Melinda?
Well, I get mistaken frequently. I think I have one of those faces that looks like other people's faces. Because people always think I'm their sister's friend, their friend's girlfriend. I mean, constantly. And then I get mistaken for actual, people, entertainers as well. Like probably the most common is Arden Marine. That's the most people will constantly call me Arden and call her Melinda. Or they'll be like, I loved you on Orange is the New Black, so.
That's like a power doppelganger situation. It's like, it's just good for both of you. I feel like that's a good one. That's fortunate.
It is. I think of that as a compliment. And then there are some other rando. I just think I have a face that kind of shapeshifts. So, okay, well, here's my second question, and I know that you're supposed to be asking the question, so then I'll defer to your question.
Actually,
Arden did the same thing wonderful. When she was on the show. Arden had a bunch of questions.
Really?
It was just, yeah.
It was great.
I'm just saying.
That's interesting. Maybe it's because I'm a podcaster too, so I love asking questions.
Yes.
But I'm much more interested in you all than me, of course. But I had a question. I was wondering, where did we all meet? I was trying to think of when do you guys remember the time or times that we first met or first-ish met? I know in comedy, sometimes it just seems like you have known people forever. They've always been there. But I was wondering if you remembered specific incidents.
Good question.
I would say for you and I, definitely was at Tiger Lily, because I would come to the show and hang out. It was such a fun hangout spot on Mondays, and Blaine hosted it for a long time. And I used to always come there and just hang out. And I think that was kind of where I think that would be my guess on where we first started hanging around each other.
Yeah, me too. I think so too.
Over when it was back on Vermont in that other place. What was that first?
Oh, okay.
The first venue.
Old school Tiger Lily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
you did such a great job, Paul, all the years hosting. You really
Oh,
put a lot of time in there and you really did a great job.
oh, Paul, you
thank
hosted
you.
the Tiger Lily show, the What's Up Tiger Lily show. I
For a
didn't know
bunch of
that.
years. Yeah,
I
yeah.
never did that show. I always was like, oh, that's a show I'd like to do in Los Angeles. And then
Well, send us a
didn't
message
do it.
and I'll make sure it gets to the
Yeah.
right people. And
Get me booked. Get me in the mix, next year, year after. I'm not in a rush. Just put me on the list. Melinda, I
No, no, you go ahead.
remember we actually met. I could not tell you the year, but I could tell you it was at Pianos in New York City.
Wow.
And you gave me a card that said your name on it.
A card.
It said human on it underneath it. It said Melinda Hill.
Oh, I gave you
human.
my card. My business card says Melinda Hill person.
Yes.
And then under it in pink cursive, a hot pink cursive, it says experience the magic.
I probably still have that.
That's
somewhere.
amazing.
You and then the comedian Jake Flores, I have your cards, and I don't have a lot of comedy cards, but
wow.
So we met then, and I remember that, and I'm sure other times too. But I remember that.
That was a special place.
I think it's still around, I hope. But you're right. It's not like, I mean, that was a fun place. I didn't live in New York, but I'd always go. I somehow was doing the Whitest Kids Sunday show they did, the Sunday school show, and that was always fun. And I think I opened for Neil Hamburger there. I only had good experiences at good old Pianos. Very nice.
What were you doing there that night? Were you on, whose show were you on?
I am confused about the timeline because I went to Pianos a lot, but part of me thinks I opened a different show for Neil Hamburger, and then I came to Pianos, and I was not actually on a show at Pianos, but I was like hanging out at Pianos. I remember that was a very interesting night. Like, I don't know if it was the same night. Like, it's all jammed up. I remember Morgan Murphy like lost a notebook and was like running around looking for her notebook. I remember seeing Tig Notaro, who I'd never seen in person, and she was like laughing maniacally at a table. And, this was a small venue, so I was mere inches away from.
Yeah, it was very small, and it was kind of sexy, kind of dirty, kind of New York. I have a question about that card, though. I don't think many people take that business card seriously because very few people that I give it to ever call.
I had nothing to call you. I had no offers. I had no work for you. I merely put it in my Rolodex and filed it away for if anything came up, which I still have the Rolodex with the card in it. So never say never.
I think maybe, this came up. So
yes,
that's what they call synchro destiny, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people have been confused by the card because they say, oh, you do magic?
Experience the magic.
I go, no, just like the whole experience is magic. And then I'm like, if you have to explain it, just like, never mind. But I do like having a business card with a photo on it, because if you don't have the photo, like I get a bowl of cards and I don't remember who they are, where I met them. So I appreciate a visual.
I think cards are cool. Let's all get cards.
You know what? Pianos was really special, though. It was like tiny.
I think you might be thinking, I think Rafifi was, well, no, Pianos is very small. You're right. Pianos is very small, but it has two sections, the front section and then the back sections. The Lower East Side, I believe it's on Ludlow. It's still there. I don't know how many comedy shows there were. It was one of those places where it's like, it was, what do you call it? Like an assembly line of shows. Those kinds of like spots where it's like, okay, guys, get out, like fish is coming.
That's so cool. Wow. I love New York.
I mean, this would have been like 15 time ago, 15 or 16 months ago.
Here? Have you all?
I am not here. I'm in Toronto right now. I got kicked out.
Oh.
Got rid of me.
Why?
Yeah.
Because my visa expired.
Do you like when people say why? Like, why? You like more pronunciation? Why? Oh
I
wow!
like it.
So are you getting
Why?
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 Really?
My friend's mom, Betty Showalter, back in Kansas, would go what? Whatever. After you said anything, she'd go what? I don't know why anyone would do that.
I love a why. That's a why and a what combo. I think that's like the greatest thing, is to just combine 3 words into one quick expression.
Yeah,
Definitely. How long are you going to be there? Are you going to come back, or what's your sitch?
I have no idea. Look, the world, I was hoping the world would just sort of, explode.
Yeah.
It would all be over.
Yeah.
No,
But now I
come
have to
on,
move
Nick.
along.
I have to move away from LA. The world explodes.
See, this is how I know you were at the beach yesterday, Nick. This is very much afterglow of the beach. This is the come down. It's tough.
Post sun.
Yeah, I think you're just dehydrated.
I'm drinking a
How great
margarita.
was the beach, you guys?
Nude beach.
Oh, you did a nude beach.
Clothing optional beach.
Clothing optional. How much clothing did you opt?
Well, it was my last day of staying on this place on this Toronto Island spot.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna close things off on the beach, and then I show up to the beach just with jeans and a button up and my underwear.
Oh boy.
So I was
Oh boy.
we're gonna have to raw dog that towel.
Oh my God.
Because that's the way to sun. Sun's out, buns out. There's a reason that's a popular expression, and that's because it's fun. So let's just say the sun was out, the buns were out, and anytime I had to not have buns out and move, I felt like a horrible person. But the part where I was lying on my tummy and the sun was just warming.
Oh my. Warming
back.
you had your butt cheeks out getting some of that Toronto sunshine.
Yeah, it's not even that appealing a beach, really. But there was nobody there. It was awesome in that sense.
They never give the nudists the really good beach. That always goes to old money. Old money has the best beaches. Nudists there's usually a nuclear reactor nearby, or some type of slough. There's some runoff going on.
Infestations, the thing of flies that look like normal flies, but they bite, those kinds of flies.
Yes.
Yeah, that type of thing. But this one,
I love when,
go on.
I like when you get close to the beach and you're like, oh, I'm so excited. And then you realize there's no way to get to the water without crossing 10 feet of dead seaweed that's filled with flies. Yum. That just makes me feel like I'm in a romance novel. I can just be near that many flies at once. It's so fun.
It is a puzzle, what to bring to the beach, and then the sand after, and I don't know. Maggie, how did you deal with all this? Do you have a beach protocol?
Well, this was my second time going to the beach. So this time I amped it up by bringing a beach blanket, because the last time I just brought a surf and towel. But it was
second time.
hella windy today, so didn't even use the beach. Put my towel and then mine had a sweatshirt. I put that on, and then my other friend had a duster, and I put that on too, and put my beach blanket over myself. So I was I looked like, who's a Silent Bob?
Yeah.
I was also wearing
Yes.
backwards cap. So I just did not look like I was at the beach to do anything beach style, but it was so windy and so cold. Had to be 60?
So that's why you're still wearing the bikini, is because it's you're just trying to give it its proper time, basically.
That too. It didn't get to come out a lot. When we went to get food afterwards, it wasn't as cold because it wasn't right on the water, and so I went to the outdoor restaurant in my this. So
that's one of my all-time favorite things to do, is going to a restaurant that is not necessarily a beach restaurant after the beach. I like being covered in sand. When we leave Malibu, we'll always stop through Calabasas. always. I love going to a bougie neighborhood and just like raggedy beach nastiness. Just, I'm all smeared with sunscreen.
Flip-flops.
Oh, yeah. There's sand all over my feet still. And they're furious. They're there in their white athleisure and they're just furious that you're there. They know what you are. They're like, oh, this beach rat came over the fucking mountains and now they're waiting in line for a wrap next to us. Oh, they can't handle it. I'm going to bring up, this is our first, oh my God, my neighbor's dog won't stop barking. This is our first subject for the, for the night. This is a great question. The scenario is this: as a group of friends, we are excited to get back together. We have reserved a table in the back room of a trendy Los Angeles bar. Not only did we reserve it, of course, they double booked it. There is another group of people that have also booked the back room of this trendy Los Angeles bar. What type of party are they having and how did they ruin our time? I will go first so you can process this possibly the most elaborate question I've ever posed on the show. I think that it is it's an old Stitch and Bitch club that haven't been able to get together because of the pandemic, and they all have very long quilts. So the whole time we're tripping over everybody's quilts, and ultimately they're having so much more fun than we do, and it makes us feel like we're not the young, fun people we used to be. That's we're sharing the back room of this exclusive Los Angeles night spot. Nick Flanagan, who do you think is back there? Who ruined our party and why?
Okay, so we've booked the back room at Bar Lubitsch.
Okay.
So the five of us are hanging out.
Very easy. I feel like my time's already almost ruined.
So we're at the back of this sort of Russian themed bar in, what is that, like Fairfax area, kind of. And we're there getting set to enjoy ourselves. They're cooking for us in the back room. And suddenly this like meetup of libertarian juggalos who have not been able to see each other in 5 days and have broken off from Insane Cloud Posse because of their progressive policies in politics. So 5 libertarian juggalos are having a hang/debate about, no, but it's just about Bitcoin, like different Bitcoin brands. And so it's just about crypto and, they're sort of debating that. And so we're there, we're trying to have fun, but these guys are doing it old style with the megaphone and the podium. It's just impossible to focus.
That would ruin. I mean, Bitcoin conversations are ruining get-togethers across the nation right now. These loud Bitcoin combos are not doing anybody any favors, and that would ruin our time for sure. Maggie, Maye, who do you think is double booked in our back room, and why are they ruining our time?
It's not only a bat mitzvah, it's like one of those my super sweet 16 bat mitzvahs, and it's like the first bat mitzvah of the season because they just now opened everything up, so everyone's gonna be there, and they're gonna get who's the Olivia Rodrigo play there. They're gonna have Bad Bunny and all those other people. They're gonna have all kinds of stuff. They're doing it real big, and it's gonna ruin our time because we are gonna have to question what about us thought that this place was cool when it's clearly a cool spot for a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds. And 2, it's gonna make us really question what we're doing in our lives if they're balling harder than us at 13. We're out here trying to celebrate whatever we're trying to celebrate, and they're coming out and celebrating harder than we are. But
that is definitely one of the dangers of Los Angeles, is that any given moment you will have your face rubbed in a much younger person, bawling out way harder than you will ever in your life. And it's disconcerting. It's a rough town to be an Uber driver in. I'll tell you that.
It will ruin our collective time, but I'm gonna get some cake. I will participate in the pinata. I'll do limbo with all the rest of them. I still have good knees, so mine will be ruined a little bit, but I'll get into it. I'll have fun either way. I'll be like, you don't even want that new iPad. That looks ghetto. You should just give it to me to throw away in my car.
Right.
Maybe I'll leave with some. I don't know.
So you're going to kind of like try to plant some shade about things that you want so that they'll like abandon them.
Right. Or at least a gift bag. And you know their gift bags are going to have like Bose headphones and Beats by Dre, Drake's phone number and shit. So I'll get one of those.
If I ever get a gift bag,
I'll be like, yeah, I'm 16. Y'all don't know.
Right.
I'll do the worm. I'll be like, y'all still do the worm? I can still do the worm.
Right. You'll be like, watch me whip. Watch me nay. Watch me whip. Watch me nay.
Like that old, and that's also the Dougie.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll go like,
twice.
You'll be like, hey, do you have This Is Why I'm Hot? Like just like go like 7 years, you know. Before.
Just walk in like, this is how we do it.
Right.
That's when all the parents get up. Oh, yeah. I mean,
you got to be like, wait, I got the perfect song for you. Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real.
That's when we fight back and ruin their party because your bar mitzvah, no matter how cool, cannot be cool if your is in the back doing like the Cabbage Patch like this.
Yeah, honestly, all these songs we just named are great songs. It should be.
They really are.
There's no doubt about it. Oh my God, we just lost Melinda for a second.
JPEG now.
Oh, no.
I know that's tough because I was just about to ask Melinda her. I wonder who is ruining her time, and apparently they've ruined it so much that she had to dip out and probably handle some fucking business.
And buy spaghetti while we're waiting.
Sure. She looks like she's at the beach.
It looks like fun, whatever that JPEG.
Melinda, were you at the beach or in your thumbnail picture?
Yep. Malibu.
Malibu.
Look at that. The boo.
That looks so good.
No, I'm sorry. Manhattan Beach.
Ooh, I like Manhattan Beach. Those are actually fun beaches. They keep them clean down there, that's for sure.
Very clean. Very clean. A lot of parking.
Yeah, a lot of neighborhood parking, and that just sets my heart on fire. I love neighborhood parking at the beach. Yum.
Cute houses too.
Definitely.
Oh my God, yeah. Melinda, I'm going to pose the question to you again. We've reserved the back room at a trendy Los Angeles night spot where we're going to enjoy a night of friends and hugging and chatting and getting back together. They've double booked the room to another group and they're ruining our time. Who are they and how are they ruining our time?
Okay, well, when you initially said that, I just saw one of those fancy drinks bars downtown where they make like the bartender has like suspenders and like a curly mustache, and like he makes like these $25 whatever gin and tonics with like a all this stuff, and it has like a hat on it and like a side pink flamingo or whatever, and it's like a sexy like dark expensive craft cocktail bar. And then like this group of sports fans all in the same team, bandana, giant foam fingers, come in and they're like really pumped from like the whatever, and then the other part of their group are improvisers. They're like zip zap zopping, you know what I mean? And they're like trying their improv exercises, and they're all like vying for attention aggressively, and it just crushes the hoity-toityness.
Oh,
It reminds me of a time that we were doing Tiger Lily on Vermont, and they suddenly decided to put all the sports games on all the screens during the show. And Brody Stevens went nuts. He went nuts. And he was like, "We are performing," and like was just going up. And he even, obviously was a sports fan, but it was a really funny. Sometimes comedy, the funniest nights are when things just go wrong.
I mean,
absolutely.
The screens thing is always going to be the wildest choice a bar can make. Like they'll be like, well, we need to make anyone who walks in the bar happy, even though we have a show. Like they need to be distracted by
just in
whatever
case
they
your little
like.
show isn't as good as the Chicago Bears. We have a little.
I can't compete with that much production value. You cannot compete with fast edits and animation as a person just talking. It's so fucking distracting. And it'll be like a window or a mirror behind you reflecting the television. Like they'll fuck you at all of these places.
Has anyone ever had the misfortune of being at a show and like watching the show be terminated by like the bar staff talking to the booker who you're talking to? Like I watched a show get canceled, like get stopped like in front of me, and it was the worst thing ever.
Stopped on a dime, or like, this is the last time we're doing this?
Yeah, this is the last time we're doing this. But like I wasn't booking the show. I was talking to the booker, like being like, "Oh, it's nice you're doing this. This is like." Cool.
And then there came a tap to the shoulder and was like, "This is the last time we're doing this."
It was a classic, like rummy, drunken style, like bar owner guy who was just like, "Yeah, I think we have to stop this after."
Oh my gosh, I have a story. I don't know. Do we have time?
Yes,
of
course. All
the time in the world.
Yes.
I love being in the green zone. It's so fun. Okay, so I did a little storytelling night at the Friend. You know that bar, the Friend?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just trying it out. They gave me the space and I was like, I'll try out a storytelling night. And so I had Duncan Trussell come and tell a story amongst others. And there were these two people in a booth who were talking at full volume through the entire show, just talking. And I was like, I don't know how to make this stop. And then Duncan went on stage, and for his story, he started to tell like a story. He goes, my story goes that one night I was out, at a bar on a date, and there was a storytelling show happening, and I just proceeded to talk through it like a fucking asshole. And then he just kept as the voice of those people, and it just escalated the more they had no idea he was even talking about them because they kept talking. And then finally he got the crowd to say "Hail Satan" toward their table, and the crowd was talking, and they still kept talking. It was really, really epic.
That's wild. I feel like storytelling shows there's a story to be told. They're always the ones that are on the precipice, like it's always like, oh, we've been offered a storytelling show like on top of the UA building.
Well, it really takes the cooperation of the audience to get down with the storytelling show. People, I don't know if this is true in all towns, but certainly true in LA. They don't have any fucking idea what is happening at anything that they go to. And if it's not exactly what they think that they would be expecting, they have no patience or understanding of what's going on. Mm-hmm. You can't get them to patiently sit through an interesting story because in Los Angeles, we're all the stars. And their night is 1,000 times. It's like they know that they would talk down to you if they spoke to you in person. So there's no reason for them to let you have the floor, even though you were booked, even though maybe they paid to be there. It's just like, wow, why are you why are you here? What, why did you stick? Like, is it fun to talk over entertainment? Or you must just be assholes. There's no other way around it.
Well, I think sometimes too, people appreciate a show in a different way and not always with their face. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I really noticed that, and we show appreciation by laughter, or not so much comics, but like normal people, we receive, and we think something's working when there's laughter. But when I was doing Vegas, a lot of times the crowds were so weird, because they're from all over. Not weird. The crowds weren't weird. They're just very Vegas-y, if you guys know. Like, and then afterward, I remember one night it was very quiet. And then afterward, people were so effusive, but they just didn't show it with their face and their laughter. And a lot of them were from Sweden. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe just like a little, didn't quite, to make more of a theater vibe for them. You know what I mean? But I do think sometimes people are appreciating things, even if they're not making a sound.
Yeah, I mean, especially a storytelling show. Just it's like Paul kind of, you said it. It's like just the idea of giving you the floor at all at a storytelling show. It's like just to be listening at all. That's what I try to remember when people are paying attention to me, but nobody is laughing. I'm like, well,
the important thing is nice. just don't address it.
Yeah.
I never address it. If they're not laughing, just keep charging and know that they're at least listening.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can dig out some little bit of extra magic to make it end well.
Do you guys ever feel like almost compulsively make that like easy laugh comment about like, basically referring to whatever it is the crowd is doing, and generally, like if a joke doesn't work, you'll say something to like make it work.
It's really, it's a fast, for me, that's a slippery slope into a meltdown.
Right.
I'm with Melinda on that.
Once I start addressing, I guess I should just die then. You know what I mean? Like, it now turned an awkward moment into, you don't want to like attack the people who did show up and are sitting there still, but sometimes you feel so vulnerable when you start like addressing things, then suddenly you start mind reading and you're like, well, I guess we should all just...
Well, we've all seen things kind of turn on a dime into. We've all seen the thing where a comedian like singles out like a bad audience member, and then like somehow you become on the audience member's side, even as a comic.
That's the story of my life as a host, and I have learned to be so gentle with hecklers, so fucking gentle. I put on my little kid gloves. I baby them. I break their little hearts so gently because it's a nightmare once the audience has decided that you're the problem, and especially if you're hosting and you have to keep coming back up, and it's like, oh, this isn't gonna get better. They didn't like me, and then I'm gonna leave, and they're glad I'm gone, and then I come back out. Hey, you're like, oh, you again, huh? Well.
What about
that fucking guy who got mad at us for just smiling?
Yeah, you're not laughing. I mean, you're smiling, but you're not laughing. What the fuck? This is laugh stuff. This ain't smile stuff. Smiling.
They just really need attention, and they don't know how to say it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're just really like a hurt, invalidated.
But there's even things like there's so much psychologically, and people talk about it. Like there's the person who is on a date and maybe nervous and does this really wrong-headed attempt to impress, there's people who just have that sort of level of socializing where they are just like, this is a conversation and I'm going to respond,
I'm like, look, you're a fan of baseball. You wear your glove to a game hoping to catch the ball. You don't go onto the field and start playing baseball. You're a fan. Stay off the stage.
Or you're just a person who is at a bar and a baseball game started.
Oh, that's also cool. One of the shows I ran, the Comedy Garage, it was right next to the Echo and the Echoplex, and it was terrible because we would get so many walk-ins off the street who were just flying off of the ecstasy of drugs and a great concert. And there is no one worse as a comedy audience than someone that high and having that good of a time. It's like you can't come back down here. You can't. You gotta stay. You gotta keep the party up here.
I would like to introduce a contender.
Ooh, I would love it.
Oh.
I would introduce a contender on a street with party bars.
Oh
a
yeah.
Street full of party bars, getting barked into a bar, and you thinking it's great, and it being quiet, and there being someone on stage talking.
Is this the Velveeta room
you're
specifically?
Yeah. Yeah. Just the looks people's faces sometimes when they come in, they'd be excited, be like, woo!
They'd be like, I am not the show.
Like, you know what? This inspires me.
Play.
This inspires me to our next topic, because the problem that we're running into is people being too messed up at these restaurants and bars / comedy shows. And I think that we need to stop pairing comedy venues with restaurants and bars. What other businesses should we combine stand-up comedy with? I personally feel like nail salons. Nail salons are a great place. They're intimate. People are in a good mood and a good place to work things out. Your audience is already happy a little bit, but they're also sort of like, they're in the zone. And I think that'd be a very good business model. Because wouldn't you love to get your nails done nice and then have a bunch of laughs and then leave looking and feeling your best?
Yeah,
it works for me. Maggie, what type of business do you think we should combine with stand-up comedy clubs?
I feel like an automotive business, like Pet Boys or something, because there's a lot of people waiting for a long time for their cars to either be ready or for their car to be next in queue. And, you can't drive home, you can't drive anywhere. And they're kind of like in a mood because they're like hoping that things are going to be okay and not too expensive. So they're like wanting to be in a good mood. They're like maybe not necessarily in a good one, but they want something to live for. And they still are kind of on pins and needles about their car. So they're not going to have the strength to be able to heckle you. They're not going to have the mental wherewithal. They're just going to have enough to like listen to what's going on and maybe have a good time. But they're really not going to have the bolas to be like, boo, be like, the boo to you, your Corolla's not going to work anymore. Like,
right.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because you don't want to ride that high that when you're heckling someone, you feel like you're the king of the castle, and then you find out you owe $1,800 on your Corolla's transmission. Just get
handed a bill.
I mean, that must be
transmission doesn't work anymore. Ooh, I would go right back in too. Like, who's the bitch now?
Nick, what do you think? What business should we marry to stand-up comedy?
I think it's really important for a comedy to class itself up a notch.
Oh,
like
okay.
we're at the lowest point here. We are like on the verge of being paupers, for lack of a better.
Yes. Okay.
Or I can't even say paupers, but like buskers. Which is buskers is great, but.
Yes.
I'm just thinking the respect level and the thing, like people will always be like, oh yeah, I knew a comedian, like he stole $10,000 from me. It's so we've got to get out of this bad. And I think performing at art galleries, like major art galleries, like the Met and the MoMA, and museums, like we need to be in the hallowed halls, Buckingham Palace.
I agree completely. I think that art venues museums. That would make the absolute best. And every show in an art venue is always a little more fun because there is that extra level of sophistication that's added to it. Even if the art sucks.
Even if the art sucks, even if the people sucks, like just the idea that they know what it is. Like you were talking about people never really being sure what a show is or something. I feel like if you do a show at a gallery or even a museum, it's like everyone knows it's a comedy show. Don't worry. Even Meltdown, that comedy Meltdown show had an element of that, even though it was at a comic book store. You know, it still was this kind of like graphic art. So people went, and next thing you know, Silicon Valley, huge hit.
For sure. They'll be like, this is a comedy show. I know because I went to college.
Yes.
This is the first comedy show I've ever seen. That always happens at like art gallery type shows. Someone's like, I've never even heard a comedian before, but my God, you're funny. And they're talking like someone who's doing their first set or whatever. Like, it's just like they've never seen it before.
Those are the type of people that talk to you as if they're like an anthropologist and they're studying you. And you're like, I don't feel comfortable with this at all. I don't.
That was like me getting into comedy was like I was doing somehow the art scene were the people giving me stage time. So that was like everybody was like that with me. And that's why confidence is low. Personally.
Melinda, what do you think would be a good business to pair with comedy? What have we not tapped?
About the Comedy Store.
Oh,
just kidding.
Go ahead. You're like, hold on. You've done tons of shows at the Comedy Store, Melinda, so I know you're joking.
Yeah. I love the Comedy Store. As they said when they made me a regular, we're a family, a dysfunctional family, but we're still a family. Every place does that to you. Whenever you join any place, they say, we're a family, a dysfunctional family, but a family.
Tell me about your father. Tell me specifically what you mean by that. What was your family like?
We're a family.
Are you actually asking me that?
No. I just anyone that says that to you, like what that says that we're a family. I'm always like, I don't know what your family dynamic is like, so I don't trust that appraisal at all.
Yeah. Also, like that thing where people say you can stop talking to anyone in your family forever if it's safer. That's easier to do with people at a comedy club.
Oh, great! So that means that we are family now, so we won't be talking.
Right. Once every few years, checking in.
Yeah, should we start a prolonged avoiding each other thing? Is that what this is about? Is that what we're grooming? I don't think it's worth it.
Is this your way of saying that you won't give me money?
Yes, that's how you know you're not getting paid.
Is this your way of saying that I'll be taking out a $5,000 loan that I'll never pay back?
Right.
Yes.
When you posed the question initially, my first thought, car wash. People are waiting. They're bored. A lot of them order the extra buffing or whatever happens there. They order the buffer. They're just sitting there. They're all like in their phones. How about a comedy show?
I think it's a great idea.
The other idea I had, laundromat. And the third one, DMV.
See, I thought DMV as well, and I really like that. I think that's perfect because everyone's trapped there. So they're very, very. You go in the DMV, you read everything on the wall because it is so boring. They would be loving some stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm. And everyone's up in everyone's biz. So if you're at the window and things aren't going your way and you have a little meltdown, everyone's seen it. Like 50 people sitting there have seen it. How about a little partition and a comedian is right in front, so you don't hear people's private biz.
I don't know if they would allow it. I don't think that they even let you smile when you get your picture taken anymore. They wouldn't want to compete with people actually enjoying themselves. The last time I wish I had my license around. The picture they took of me, I look like a train robber from the 1800s. I was like, I've never looked like this. I don't know how. I could tell it's me, but at the same time, very troubling.
I tried to sneak a hat in there. I tried to go in with the hat, and they weren't having it. There's a no hat rule. I'm like,
it's just on the back.
It's called fashion. The police are going to want to know that I'm the same fashionable person that I streets.
Like, trust me, if I'm getting arrested, I'm going to be wearing this hat. This is my I'm about to fuck shit up hat. Right. So
this is a service hat.
Yeah. If I'm speeding on the highway, it's this hat.
Have you guys been ID'd?
Like, fine. If you want to run the risk of them being like, yeah, this is you, there's no hat in this driver's license photo.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, well, you're
that was me telling the DMV that didn't work out. Well, anyway, it didn't work out. I tried. It didn't work out.
Has anyone been ID'd with the mask on? You know, that thing where you buy something for adults and then they say ID, please, and then you give it and you still have the mask and they look and they go, okay.
You go, okay.
I've had that a time.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I did have a guy yesterday. He took the wine out of my basket, looked at me, and then just started putting it in. And I was like, you can't even, this is all you can see and you're sure I'm all right. Okay. So I went home and I moisturized and I feel better now. I'm going to go back next week and see if I get carded. You really got to take care of the moisturizing these days. It's so important.
It's very serious.
I think we have time for one more question that I'd like to get to before we get out of here. Melinda, before I get to, thanks again for being in the green Zoom with us. And it's just,
thank you.
It's so nice to see you.
So nice to see you. I'm so happy to be here. Sorry I was a few minutes late and came with a loud noise.
That's okay. I feel like there's always something like that. And I want to encourage everybody to check out your podcast, Let's Process This, correct?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our final question. Okay, so during this pandemic, they've been basically rebuilding Hollywood all around us. Buildings are coming down, buildings are going back up. And one thing that I think is going to really continue is the tradition of the Hollywood celebrity mural. And so the final question is, what celebrity mural do we need to add to the streets of Hollywood? I would love to see, and I think that everybody would love to see as a life-size mural of celebrities at their real height. I want to see Danny DeVito on the wall. I want to see, like, put them next to each other so people go, oh man, I am taller than Matthew Perry. I knew he wasn't 6'2". Show me the 5'11" Matthew Perry that I always knew he really was. I think that would be a huge Instagram spot, and ultimately that's what this town needs is a few more good. The pink wall in WeHo is doing too much of the heavy lifting. The angel wings, it's too much. Maggie, what do you think? What's the next Hollywood mural we need to add to the streets? Tell the tale.
Put me on a mural. I'm cute. Put me on a mural, and everyone will walk by and be like, who's that? And then they'll be like, exactly. Who's Hollywood? Who's anybody?
Yeah, she's glamorous, though. I can tell. Could have been from any era. Put some fake ass quote.
They'll
up
be
there
like,
for you.
is that girl from Woke? And they'll be like, no, it's not this year's Zamata. Do not flatter yourself. That's somebody else. That's just some random person. And like, I'll stay by the mural too to like explain explain it to people. So like it's actually art because,
Yeah, normally you have to be an athlete.
I'll get 6 Instagram followers off of it. Huh?
I was gonna say, normally athletes are the only people that get to visit their murals. They're the only ones that get them while they're still alive, and they'll get to take their pictures in front of it. Everyone else, you gotta go. Usually, gotta go
never
to get a
mind.
mural. No, Maggie, not
I
you.
changed mine.
You're an athlete in the mind. You know what I mean? You're a
Okay,
comedy
cool.
athlete, so you get the pass. What do you think you'd be doing in that mural, Maggie?
Classic hot girl shit, eating candy.
Yes. Also true to form.
It's like gummy bear and shit, and people
What
will be
about-
like, "Wow."
Listening to
that
music
is
with your head
good.
kicked up, with your leg kicked up, like headphones, music, like leg kicked up. That's kind of a hot girl thing.
Yeah, that's then with a little duck mouth and then eating it. Or
Yeah,
duck.
maybe a little pull to the gummy, get a little of that elasticity.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
What one of these?
Yeah, yeah. That sounds great. I think I'm trying to picture what part of Hollywood I would want to put your mural in, because I would want to do right by you.
How about where the
Should be in
Hollywood?
North Hollywood, new Trader Joe's.
In North Hollywood?
Just a bit.
What were you saying, Melinda? What do you think?
I think her.
Saying
I
stupid
think,
shit.
I think Maggie's mural should go over the Hollywood sign.
Ooh.
I like that.
That's the most appropriate place for it.
I couldn't.
It should
agree
be
more.
written in the sky. Draw a mural of me in the sky.
I brought this up before with several people privately, and I'm going to bring it up here. Hopefully that the In the Green Zoom family can make this happen. How do we live in Hollywood where the Hollywood sign is not lit up? It's not, doesn't illuminate in any way. There's no reflective exterior with lights shining on it. There's no LED background. They're not projecting colors onto it. This should be, it boggles the mind that our celebrities haven't made this Hollywood sign a little more 21st century.
That's a great point. Truly.
Oh. Can it be seen at night though? Like, is it slightly illuminated? Wow, that's weird.
It should be Technicolor, baby. They should each be individual LED screens.
It should be lit by ring lights.
Right.
1,000
USB.
ring lights on 1,000 drones just projecting it. Oh my God, that's a great idea. Nick Flanagan, who do you think? Talk to me about our new celebrity mural in Hollywood. What story needs to be told through mural form?
Well, I've been just like huge back into 90210, so like the original Beverly Hills 90210, and so I think if you did a mural, like ideally just a humongous mural of Brenda and Dylan, together at their best, like the world would feel so much better. I would settle for just Dylan. But the thing is,
for just Dylan, so
the thing is,
I love
Shannon
Brenda.
Doherty is amazing, on that show, and so is Luke Perry. Oh my God, rewatching it's just like,
Now that's a mural. I would say if you make that only life size, really blowing it. This should be a 30-foot tall mural.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, like when people are like, "Wow, can't believe I'm on this billboard for the show I'm on." Fuck that. That person should never be on it. That billboard should just be Brenda and Dylan mural. So,
God, I would love to see. Think how long his sideburns would be if he was 30 feet tall.
Oh my God!
I'm talking about 7 foot long sideburns. Oh,
he was the best. He had the best command of his environment as a character. Dylan would walk in. He'd like turn the chair to the side, and then he'd do this and be like, "What's up?" It was like the greatest. Parkour.
What I loved about him was is he was hot in an inaccessible way. Like you couldn't hope to be as attractive as that guy was. Like, that guy was such a hottie. The other guy, Brandon, was cute, but in a believable fashion. Like, not the other dude, Luke Perry. He had that James Dean, that impossibly hot.
Him and Shannon Doherty both had this thing where it was just like there were odd elements, maybe like if you were to their look, like on some level, but then like it all just came together to make just
I love it.
magic and love. And I can't believe they didn't get to be together.
Well, that is the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
That's a great mural, and I couldn't agree anymore. Melinda Hill, what do you think should we add as a new mural to truly tell the tale of Hollywood in this new era?
I think it's a great question, and I was torn. What first things that came to mind: Prince, Amanda Gorman, Lizzo, Tom Waits, Nick Cave, David Bowie, and Leonard Cohen.
Are they playing poker?
Wow. Are they playing poker?
Yeah, they're on one of those like dog paintings but it's like all the dogs playing poker, but it's all their heads.
Love it.
They're on a Zoom call playing poker.
So that even no matter how poor the drawing is, it says their name.
And I think this mural should go on the observatory.
Ooh.
Oh, I love that. Because the observatory, let's be honest, it's all white. That's it. They could do a little more with it. That's all I'm saying. A lot of canvases, up there. They could be celestial versions of themselves.
That's true. Then they have that little space station with the stuff firing through the roof. I'm not saying it right, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Little space station with the little
The telescopes.
Beam me up, Scotty area. You can see I'm very familiar with this national monument.
Treasure.
Only 1 mile from my home.
It's just that those are the technical terms, and the rest of us civilians don't know the technical terms. I didn't know it was beam me up. I'm learning something new every day.
I would love that. I feel like obviously also every film that's ever been filmed at the observatory should get a little slice of the wall too, because whether you want to admit or not, people are going up there because of La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to put some respect on it. Ryan Gosling brought people to the observatory. I mean, sure, it was for Instagram purposes, but still, how many fires did it kindle of people's love for space and space travel?
Right.
I think Ryan Gosling should front the parking bill because they've started charging $10 an hour at the observatory. So I think they could pay it forward. A little La La Land residual could probably cover a year of parking there.
I agree, because that's one of the great cons of this town is giving people a cool free thing to go to and then making it impossible to get to. Yeah. it's such a pain in the ass. And now they're even
it was free forever. They just started. That's how popular it is now, though. It's very popular, and it's that they probably did for COVID spacing too, which is good.
They even started charging on the hillside. Like, I get charging for your 16 space parking lot, but the whole, like, you still got to get your ass sweaty, and you're paying $10 an hour to park on a meter. It's terrible.
Yeah, at least have a golf trolley, to take you from the car for $10.
I have to.
On the whole hike. You should get a golf trolley for the whole hike for that price.
And I used to really love going up there and smoking weed and taking in the view, and now it's just too expensive. I can't pay $10 an hour for a good place to park and smoke. That's not something I'm going to do.
Well, what you could do is smoke your weed and watch La La Land.
Right.
That's a great idea. I certainly did the first time. So a lot of people had complaints. It didn't stick with me, so I have no complaints. I think that's our show. Thanks everybody for tuning into the Green Zoom. Melinda, thank you so much for joining us. Again, everyone check out the Let's Process This podcast and follow Melinda. Where can they follow you on social media?
Did we do this right? Is this how this is supposed to go?
Yeah, this is how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, you can follow me. Thanks for following me, guys. I'm on Twitter at Melinda Hill. I'm on Instagram at Real Melinda Hill because I got real on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm Melinda Hill comedian. My Twitter account was just replenished. A hacker had it taken down.
Whoa.
So it's come back after a few months down, which was actually heaven, not having to deal with another social media site. But I am back now. So
I'm glad you got it back. The worst thing is people trying to steal these things that we can barely stand doing in the first place, but have to. And then they're like, oh, we're going to make your life even more difficult. Why?
Why? And who is it? And do they still have access? And they're just like waiting for the next time to do it. It's creepy, really. Why? Why me?
It's so bizarre. There's just a million shitty people out there, and they're stealing everybody's identity. When I had someone creating an account with my face and name, I was like, I am like, look, guy, let me tell you, the opportunities aren't going to come your way like you think they are. They just aren't. It's not going to work out the way. My DMs are not slid into. They're, look, buddy. But still, take this down. You know, you're sending flirtatious messages to my friends, and that's the weird part.
Yeah,
it's like if you're
creepy, or like asking your friends for money. I actually am the person asking them for money, but I act like it's.
I mean, they're still giving my Venmo.
20.
What?
You're like, I wouldn't have asked them for no damn 20.
Right. It's embarrassing. People, they hacked my Instagram as well. And then people were letting me know, like, oh, you wrote me and I want to make sure this was you. And then it's like, no, it's not.
You're like, no, God, what? Yeah, it's crazy to think that you would use your Instagram instant DMs for reaching out to people in some serious time of need anyway. It just doesn't track. None of it tracks, people. Yeah, don't do any official business on Instagram direct message. That's my parting advice to everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks you, Melinda, especially for joining us in the Green Zoom.
Thank
and
you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Linda.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
We'll see you all the next time in the Green Zoom. Bye.
See you in the GZ.